What if your body contains a hidden code that defies the laws of reality? It's not magic, it's your sexual energy, the very power that past civilizations considered the key to communicating with the cosmos. We call it instinct, but what if it's a renewal system sewn into your DNA? Imagine that your every wish is not just a spark in your brain, but a command that changes the settings of the world around you. But why do most people use this energy like a match, lit and then extinguished, instead of lighting a fire visible from other galaxies? Here are 2 steps to make your campfire a beacon. 1. Click like, so the platform's algorithm realizes you're ready to reboot. 2. Write 1 wish in the comments to energize you for the next week. Now, here are instructions on how to rewire your perception. Are you ready to enter the first character? Imagine a river flowing through every living thing on the planet. Its water is more than just a liquid. It is the force that creates mountains, sprouts seeds, and ignites the spark of life in the first organism, which appeared billions of years ago. This river is sexual energy. It exists in all species, from bacteria to humans, for a reason. It is the oldest language through which the universe communicates with matter. Past scientists studying starfish embryos noticed something strange. When an embryo was divided into parts, each cell began to behave like a whole organism, dividing, growing, and searching for resources. They called this phenomenon the vital force, an invisible impulse that turns chaos into order. Today, we know that it's the same impulse that makes our hearts beat faster when we're attracted to someone and helps our bodies recover from stress. It's as if every cell remembers its main task is not to survive, but to pass on the baton of life. 15th century texts describe a practice in which monks slowed their breathing to 3 breaths per minute while focusing on a point below the navel. After months of practice, the monks could go weeks without food while maintaining mental clarity. Modern scientists studying this phenomenon suggested that such concentration redirects energy usually spent on digestion and libido into the reserve systems of the body. It's as if a factory machine suddenly began producing not goods, but itself. How does this work in your body? Every time you feel an urge, 1. Your brain releases a substance that dilates blood vessels, the same mechanism that triggers root growth in plants when they're exposed to water. 2. Your back muscles tense up involuntarily, like a cat preparing to jump. This ancient reflex is common to all mammals. 3. Your pupils dilate to absorb more light, as if your body is trying to absorb not only your partner, but also the entire world around you. Tantra suggests not dampening this wave, but riding it. It's like a surfer who uses the power of the ocean to fly over the water. Your task is to stop being a consumer of energy and become its conductor. Then what you call sexuality will become the brush that paints reality. In 1609, when Galileo first pointed his telescope at the Milky Way, he did not see divine light, but rather millions of stars. But what if those stars are merely a reflection of a hidden sky within you? According to Tantra, your breath is the ebb and flow of universal cycles, and every burst of emotion is a miniature supernova. This is not a metaphor. It is the law of resonance that the ancients observed in stone, water, and their own hearts. The Greek historian Herodotus described a ritual at the temple of Isis in which priests sang while standing between columns. When the pitch of their singing reached a certain level, the stone slabs began to vibrate, creating a rumble in the air, like the roar of an invisible beast. Modern acoustics confirm that a frequency of 110 Hz, roughly the A note of the 2nd octave, causes limestone to resonate. However, the priests believed that it was the voice of a goddess responding to the blood song, a rhythm that occurs when a person concentrates on a point below the navel. Their secret was that they turned their bodies into tuning forks, tuning them to the vibrations of the stone. In 1769, Captain James Cook recorded, "While the natives of Tahiti were dancing, our compasses went mad. The hands were spinning as if the North Pole were moving." Later, missionaries learned that the dances were performed in a state of mana, an ecstatic trance in which, according to belief, the soul unites with the spirits of ancestors. 19th century scientists studying the phenomenon suggested that the mass excitement of the group created a weak electromagnetic field that affected the metal. It's as if emotions become a magnet that distorts space. How do you make the stars your allies? Imagine your body as a compass. 1. Sexual arousal is the arrow pointing to the north of your true desires. 2. Breathing is a scale that calibrates accuracy. 3. Emotions are the magnetic field that deflects the arrow toward false targets. Tantra does not teach you to suppress emotions. Rather, it teaches you to use their power like sailors use the wind, even a headwind. After all, a storm can lead you to shore if you know how to handle the sails. Your orgasm, anger, or dream is not a flash in the void. They are a knot in a net where every thread trembles. The universe is not a giant mechanism. It's a mirror that reflects what you look into it. If you look into it with the question, "Who am I?" the answer will be a new pattern on its surface, a galaxy, a flower, or yourself finally realizing you've been whole all along. In 1784, the French hypnotist Mesmer shocked scientists with his animal magnetism. Patients in a trance were cured of diseases simply by following his gestures. But what if this magnetism is just a faint echo of ancient science, where desire was not asked for, but cultivated like a rare flower? Tantra says, your intention is the seed, and sexual energy is the rain that brings it to life. And this is not metaphysics, but the forgotten biology of the soul. The Archives of Tibetan Healers describes the treatment of infertility through flower meditation. A woman spent 21 days visualizing a lotus blossoming in her uterus. Out of 30 cases, 19 became pregnant, although they had been infertile before. Scientists of the 19th century, who studied the phenomenon, suggested the visualization increased the blood flow to the organs, creating favorable conditions. But the patients themselves said, "The flower became my child. I just gave it a name." Why does it work? Tantra is based on 3 laws known to the ancients. 1. The law of reflection. Just as the moon is reflected in every drop of the ocean, your desire must fall into the mirror of your subconscious. Practitioners are taught not to want, but to become one for whom desire is already a reflected reality. 2. The law of rhythm. The heartbeat, the tides, the change of seasons. Everything is subject to cycles. If you charge a desire at full moon or dawn, when the body is synchronized with nature, it will be integrated into the general rhythm, like a note in a symphony. 3. The law of emptiness. After sowing a desire, silence is required. Just as a seed is not dug up to control its growth, the intention requires faith, not control. Tantra does not fulfill desires. It transforms you into a person for whom they are inevitable. Like an arrow shot in the wind, it will always find its target. Your task is not to aim, but to become the arrow itself. Tantra is not about becoming superhuman. It's about remembering that you are already connected to the source. Your sexuality, anger, and joy are not faults of the system, but rather its language. When you learn to use this language, you stop squeezing resources out of life and start creating them. The next time you reach for something, a cup of coffee, a loved one's body, or the stars outside the window, remember that this is not a gesture of need. It's a gesture of a creator who changes the trajectory of worlds through touch. All that remains is choosing which world you want to renew tomorrow.